Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Preimesberger, the editor of eWEEK. Thanks for joining us today for another segment of eWEEK eSpeaks. Today, our special guest is Joe DosSantos. Joe is the Chief Data Officer at Qlik, and that's not spelled the way you might think it is. It's spelled with a Q. Joe, welcome.
Thanks, Chris. Happy to be here.
Good. Give us a high level on what Qlik does for those of us watching who don't know Qlik.
Sure. Qlik is an analytics tool, so we believe that data is best when it's put to use. So we provide analytics tools to be able to do predictive modeling and visualization of data assets and predictive modeling. We also provide some pipelines to bring that data so that people can have access to data and do something good with it.
Well, that's what you have to do. You know, first of all, you get the data streamed in, you've got to store it, you have to protect it, you've got to cleanse it. There's all kinds of things you have to do with it, but to analyze it, you need to have a good tool so that that data can be of value to your company, and that's what Qlik does.
That's right. So we believe that we have some power to be able to connect data that's difficult to get together, called the associative engine, and it helps to get data together and create unique insights that a person might not be able to find by themselves, and graphically depict them so they're easy to understand.
Great. How does Qlik work? So if I decide I really need this analytical help for my business, I want to know if my business is where it's going to be 6 months from now based on the data that I have. How does Qlik help me do that?
So Qlik has a SaaS offering where you can go off to a SaaS environment. You can lay down a credit card and get a tenant up and running in no time, and all the software is fully functional. You can get data in, and the system itself will help you to find some insights and get you off and running. We do have some customers that are still on-prem, and we have Fortune 500, Fortune 10 companies that run at massive scale to crunch lots of volume of data as well.
Okay. So give me an example of how it works with a company, or I mean, just a use case, a good use case to help our listeners understand.
Well, a very timely use case is COVID-19. So what we've been doing internally and working with our customers to do is to understand the impact of the COVID-19 outbreak to people's employees, to people's the populations that are at risk. So for instance, we built some analytic applications that showed us where our employees were distributed and how it matched up to where the World Health Organizations were telling us the outbreaks were. And it helped us to make some decisions around office closures, around relocations of certain people, and a lot of different things around going back to work strategy. And it's also really key in terms of helping us make some strategic decisions around our business. So we're doing a lot of business modeling, and I think this is very conventional for our customers. It's important to know what's happening, but people want to know what's going to happen. So a lot of thinking around how do I build a model that suggests how will this epidemic end? What's it going to do to my business? How do I handle that from a salary perspective? Do we go about furloughs? Do we go about pay cuts? Do we go about layoffs? And those are really important decisions. And I have to say, as a data guy, it's really been nice to see the C-suite focusing on the data and the analytics as a way to build these models to really help make data-driven decisions. We call that data literacy at Qlik. How do we make sure that people are understanding what the data suggests, understanding what these models suggest, and really making informed decisions around what's going to come next for people's employees and for their business?
Qlik is really image driven, is it not? And to help people of all abilities in this to use it, you don't have to be a data officer or a data scientist to use this, correct?
No, it's really meant to be quite simple. And the idea is that we have this idea called a cognitive engine, which assists people and uses AI techniques to drive your decision. So if you ask a question, it will help guide your decision a little bit. So we really are trying to cater to the simplest person. Imagine that every single person can get a little bit more competent with data and analytics. And one other way of describing kind of how we care about that is we think that we have a very big effort called Qlik.org, where we make a play to support nonprofit organizations and such as the United Nations in making these big decisions as well. So in order to be successful in that, you do need to make sure that you're supporting the most sophisticated of analytic users, but also the most simple kinds of analytics that can be done. And so we're making, we think, a big impact in the society around us, especially in the
Right.
COVID-19 era.
Nice. Very good. And you said you have Fortune 500 companies that are your customers? Wow. You got
We
you got
have
some big and small companies, correct?
That's right. So we go all the way up from Fortune 1, 2, 3 companies, all the way down to students that are trying to create dissertations and trying to do some analytics for their papers in our SaaS environment. So it really spreads the gamut.
Wow. Being that versatile is pretty amazing. And to be able to use the tool and not be a data scientist is also astounding and really useful, obviously, for people like myself, who I'm not a scientist, but I could sit down and I could put some information in and get some good results back. The whole idea of having a model too for a company to move on is fabulous. Can you expound a little bit about the value of models?
Sure. So let me tell you a little bit about a concept that we call augmented intelligence. So the world is afire right now with artificial intelligence. And certainly machines will help us make decisions at scale. And there's lots of things around us that are already being dictated by machines. But there's a really important human aspect of this that we believe is critical. So we believe in the power of the system to assist the human being in making really good decisions. And we call that augmented intelligence. So as we start to think about that, part one of that is really just, can I actually understand the correlation between certain types of data sets? And so, for instance, I might be able to create a graph that shows me revenue by country or headcount by a U.S. state. And as we move forward, we want to know not only what is happening or what has happened, but what's going to happen. And now we start to move from descriptive analytics to predictive analytics to prescriptive analytics. And that's a really important thing for us to help our customers with. It's no longer okay just to know what happened. We want to help our customers figure out what happens next. And that has to do with everything from their business to their employee headcount, to the market trends, to the world around them in different kinds of ways, depending on the industry that they're in.
Wow. Connects a lot of dots and a lot of value for business to be able to look ahead based on the facts and the data that you have in the bank. That's great. Joe DosSantos, Chief Data Officer of Qlik. Thank you very, very much for being on eWEEK eSpeaks.
Chris, it's been a pleasure. Thanks very much.
Good. And everybody out there watching, have a great rest of your eWEEK. Thanks for joining us on eWEEK eSpeaks. Go to eWEEK.com to hear more conversations with IT thought leaders.